If any of you have ever been to a courthouse, for any reason, it does not matter why you're there, you have to go through a metal detector. Oftentimes, a human will actually scan your body to make sure you don't have anything like guns on you, so that this doesn't happen. That is the most unrealistic thing I have ever seen. Hey guys, it's Mikayla and welcome back to another video. You guys seem to have really liked my last reaction video, so today we're gonna do another one. Today I'm going to be reacting to some courtroom scenes from one of my favorite TV shows, Law & Order Special Victims Unit. And be sure to check out my last reaction video when you're done watching this one. If you guys like these types of videos, be sure to give this one a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified when I post new videos. And of course, I cannot react to every single courtroom scene from the 23 seasons this show has. So if there are any other scenes from this show that you'd like me to react to, or any shows in general, let me know in the comments down below. And also, everything I say in this video are purely my own opinions from my own experience as a young attorney. So with that, let's get into it. We're kicking this video off with season 7, episode 6, titled Raw. And the description is, an investigation of a horrific school sniper attack leads the team to a particularly obnoxious neo-Nazi group. So we're starting off strong.
All right, now before we begin, let's just make sure that everyone is familiar with the rules of my courtroom. I have a zero tolerance policy for shenanigans. I appreciate that emotions are running high, but you must control them if you wish to remain. That means no outbursts and no foul language. Capiche, Mr. Redding?
Yes, Your Honor.
I understand you want to change the plea you made at arraignment?
Yeah, I want to plead guilty.
Please stand. You may now allocute. Describe your crime for the court.
I shot the 2 Jew kids and the porch monkey.
May you burn in hell, you racist!
Order! Madam, sit down or I'll have you removed. And as for you, Mr. Redding, I am rejecting your plea offer.
Okay, so yeah, fun fact, if you guys didn't know, you don't just get to say, I plead guilty when you're making a guilty plea in open court. Oftentimes you have to say specifically what you did and sometimes how you did it so the judge actually believes you. A judge can reject your guilty plea for a multitude of reasons, one of those being if they don't actually think you did it and you don't sound genuine. So if you're going to plead guilty, which hopefully none of you will ever be in this situation, but if you are, you probably should actually try to have a little bit of genuineness toward what you're saying. And pro tip, if a judge says that they don't like shenanigans and foul language in their courtroom, maybe leave the racism out of it. Just a thought.
Your Honor, there's a deal in place.
My courtroom, my decision, Mr. Horowitz, and I find this deal reprehensible.
Doesn't matter if there's
You should
a
be
deal in
ashamed
place.
of yourself for agreeing to it, Miss Novak.
I apologize.
A blatant hate crime, countless children traumatized, 2 of them maimed, and 1 precious young life snuffed out.
What does Your Honor recommend?
Yes, so like I said, going back to what I said, a judge can reject your plea offer for several different reasons, but a lot of the time they will take into account your criminal history. So if you've done this a ton of times in the past, they're not going to just let you off. The victim, what's in the best interest of the victim, what's in the best interest of the community, things like that. So far, this isn't too unrealistic compared to real life. If the defendant gets up in front of the judge and makes a fool out of himself and a fool out of the court, the judge can and will reject the plea agreement, even if it was previously agreed upon.
2 options, Mr. Redding. Withdraw the plea and take your chances at trial, or accept the current offer of 25 to life for each count, but to be served consecutively, not concurrently as so egregiously suggested.
Ooh, so that's interesting. So just a brief distinction there. If let's say you have 3 counts of murder, right? And you get 25 years for each count. Sometimes you can serve those concurrently. So you can serve the same 25 years and it will count for each of the counts. But if the judge says you have to serve them consecutively, ooh, yeah, judge is not letting up here at all.
If you should choose to go to trial and are found guilty, I will show no leniency. Your parole officer's parents haven't even been born yet.
No. No way in hell. I want the deal I was promised.
Court officers, remove the prisoner.
Yeah, screw you, old man! Rah-hoa! Rah-hoa! Rah-hoa!
Have you been brainwashed by the Jew-controlled media?
Silence!
Or are you just another corrupt lackey of the Zionist-occupied government?
This show is insane.
White power!
The fine for contempt of my court is $500, young
What are
lady.
you gonna
Yeah.
do? You gonna criminalize the First Amendment?
You just made it $1,000. Court officers, lock her up.
Free the political prisoner.
That's $1,500.
Keep counting, Mr. Judge.
Okay, so if any of you don't know what contempt of court is, honestly, the best way to describe it is if you are misbehaving in any way, whether you're a witness, a defendant, an attorney, the judge can hold you in contempt of court and charge you a fine, if not worse, depending on the severity of what you're doing is. So yeah, honestly, if you're really trying to make a statement when the judge is threatening you and increasing the fine each time by $500, maybe it's not the best time to fight for your First Amendment rights. Like at that point, you just kind of got to shut up, have a conversation outside, put it on Twitter like everybody else does. But that woman is about to pay a lot of money for what, 10 seconds, and the judge didn't even care.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name.
I plead the fifth.
Miss Morrison, it's just your name.
I invoke my right against self-incrimination as afforded me by the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
Miss Novak, are the people prepared to offer this witness immunity?
We already have, Your Honor.
Miss Morrison, I understand that you have been granted immunity.
I plead the fifth.
This witness is dismissed.
So, most of the time, I would say 99 times out of 100, a witness is not going to plead the fifth on their name. Like she said, she pled the fifth and invoked her right against self-incrimination, which in a more realistic example would be something like, there's a witness who's on the stand who was the friend of the defendant, the person that's on trial, and the attorney asks the witness, were you with Mr. Smith that night? Yes. What were you and Mr. Smith doing? If the witness was participating in the crime that the defendant is on trial for, they would plead the fifth. But again, pleading the fifth with your name doesn't really happen because what's incriminating about your name? I do know in this particular episode, this witness is actually an undercover FBI agent. It's actually the same witness who had that little outburst earlier, so I think that's why she was really selling it there. Again, if a judge is threatening to hold you in contempt of court, shut your mouth. But that's why this whole thing happened here. In real life, not so realistic and doesn't really happen that often.
Your Honor, could I please request a brief recess?
Call your next witness, Miss Novak.
The people call Brandon Lee Redding.
Sidebar.
Approach. You have a problem with this witness, Mr. Morton?
Okay, so that does happen in real life. A sidebar is when the attorneys approach the bench, the judge, because they are about to probably say something that they don't want the jury to hear. So sometimes they will just object in open court and make the arguments in front of the jury, but whatever they're about to say, they probably don't want the jury to know about because it could influence them in some way or something along those lines. So let's see.
I have many problems with this witness, Your Honor. First and foremost, that as a co-conspirator, his testimony must be corroborated.
Your Honor, we have produced physical evidence to corroborate his testimony.
You're referring to the dead boy's
Go
school
to his
picture.
website,
You
Barry.
can't even
Click to the
prove
page
came
on
from my
race traders.
Mr. Murdoch, I'm allowing this witness.
Your Honor,
Step back. Mr. Murdoch, I've made my ruling.
it's a bad ruling.
Mr. Murdoch,
You're allowing your personal beliefs to cloud your legal judgment.
you are perilously close to contempt, sir.
I'm just trying to protect my client's rights, Your Honor.
Okay. Again, everyone is trying to get contempt today, apparently. You don't get to just argue with the judge after they've made their ruling. That's not allowed. Once the judge makes their ruling, you either agree with it or you disagree with it, maybe say a few cuss words in your head and you sit down. You don't get to tell the judge that they're wrong and that they're not thinking correctly and that they're being influenced by what. You don't get to do that. Very unrealistic.
In this country, even neo-Nazis have them. They have the right to assemble, the right to free speech, and as much as it just kills you two, the right to a fair trial.
You will have a chance to present your case. Call the next witness, Miss Novak.
Yeah, again, so what he just did was piss the judge off, which is something you never want to do. For any future attorneys out there, again, don't argue with the judge. If the judge does something extremely egregious, move for a new trial, move to set aside the verdict, anything besides arguing with the judge during the trial.
Mr. Redding, when did you first meet the defendant, Brian Ackerman?
About a week after I got out.
And what happened at that meeting?
He sees my tattoos, finds out I just got out of Rikers, starts trying to bait me.
How?
It says skinheads are all talk. Says this group's more organized. Says I got a whole list of targets and there should be one I'm especially interested in.
Side note, you guys might be wondering, isn't that hearsay? So when it's a statement by the defendant, it's actually not hearsay because it's a statement by the party opponent, which by definition is not hearsay. So fun fact.
And what target was that?
He adopted Sambo as some white Rikers security guard. He gave me his home and school address. Even gave me his school picture.
Race traitor! Fire! Court officers! Court officers! Kyle! Drop it!
Kyle, you're not getting that.
Literally what?
We all have to make sacrifices. Drop your weapon!
Federal agent!
Drop it!
Hold fire! Federal agent.
So there's her saying she's a federal agent. Okay, there are several security measures put into place in courthouses so that this does not happen. If any of you have ever been to a courthouse, for any reason, it does not matter why you're there, you have to go through a metal detector. Oftentimes, a human will actually scan your body to make sure you don't have anything like guns on you so that this doesn't happen. That is the most unrealistic thing I have ever seen. But again, that's what makes this show so good, is just because it's entertainment. If you guys are ever in a courtroom, I would not be afraid of getting shot if I were you. It's typically not a place you have to worry about that at, unless of course you're in SVU. With that being said, I really enjoyed reacting to these courtroom scenes today. And again, I'm sure there's plenty more that I could react to, so let me know what you guys are interested in down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye and go thrive.